Hi beautiful souls, welcome to my channel Elle's Temple. My name is Elle, I'm a goddess guide and intuitive tarot reader. Welcome back to my returning viewers. Welcome if you're new here. I'm so happy to have you all here. I hope you guys are all doing well wherever you are in the world. So today's reading is going to be continuing on with my Goddess Asteroid series. So as I mentioned in my last video, my last Hygeia reading was the Pallas Athena, I should say. What is wrong with my words today? Pallas Athena in Sagittarius reading, and I mentioned at the beginning of that reading, for those of you that listened to the intro, that there's a couple of other major goddesses I wanted to have a look at this month and see how their transits are affecting us. So this one we're taking a look at Goddess Hygeia, the Greek goddess of health and healing and preventative medicine, and she is transiting into the sign of Pisces out of Aquarius. And I'm also going to be looking at Goddess Ceres, who is transiting Capricorn as well. So that'll be a separate video on that. So I'm not going to go into too much detail explaining about the goddess asteroids and their energy because I went into that on the Pallas Athena video. So if you want to understand it a little bit more, then I encourage you to check out that video. It's got a timestamp in the introduction, a specific timestamp for where I explain the part about goddess asteroids. So in this video, I'm just going to kick off straight away with talking about Hygeia and what it means with her moving into Pisces for us. So as I mentioned, Goddess Hygeia is the goddess of health. She is a goddess of well-being and preventative medicine. So she helps us really to get to like the root cause of any disease. She helps us to essentially balance mind, body, and soul so that we can be in tune with ourselves. We can take responsibility for our health. We can be really proactive and tune into ourselves so that we know where things might be getting out of balance, or where if we've got certain like stress on our systems or emotional pain or anything like that, she can help us to heal that before it becomes an illness in the body, before things can become worse, before they can build up and take over. So she was sometimes seen to be under the god Asclepius, who was like the god of medicine. So she does also offer medicine, but her medicine is quite spiritual in nature, and it's, as she's pictured here with the snake, it's often to do with like regeneration and rebirth, like spiritual rebirth. It's often an energy where she will encourage us to really take notice of like our chakra system, because the snake is linked to Kundalini energy. So she'll get us to really pay attention and take notice of where our vital life force energy is low, or where our energy is being siphoned maybe by other things or something, and she'll help us to like restore balance to our chakras so that we can restore that Kundalini energy that spirals up from the base of the spine through all our chakras and keeps us healthy and balanced and empowered and all of that. So she's not just a goddess in terms of like medicine, though she is sometimes seen to be that, and she's not just a goddess related to hygiene, which is where the name hygiene comes from, the name Hygeia. In relation to hygiene, though, she is linked with purification. So yes, it is in regard to cleaning and making sure you're being hygienic and everything within your space and your body and all of that, but also with regard to like purifying the soul and purifying the spirit and the mind as well, and the emotions and all of that. It's like about sort of metaphysical purification as well as physical purity and all of that. So she's very, very multi-layered in that way. So with her moving into Pisces, what that means is that Pisces is a sign that it's a water sign. It rules over the emotions. It's a very emotional sign, very intuitive, can often be very spiritual, very creative, very sensitive. And it's ruled by Neptune, which is the sea god and the planet of like spirituality and how we merge with the divine and our interconnectedness with the divine. It rules over the 12th house, which is all about those things. And can rule over things like, in the shadow side, it can rule over things like illusions, addictions, escapism, unhealthy coping mechanisms like emotional numbing and things like that. That's kind of all falls under the shadow realm of like Neptunian energy or Pisces energy. So with Hygeia moving into Pisces, what this means is she's giving us an opportunity with this transit to essentially be proactive about our mental and emotional well-being and have a look at what emotional healing may need to be done before it gets to a point where, you know, these sorts of things can essentially stay within our bodies. They can stay within our auric fields, you know, certain emotional pain, certain emotional numbness, even sometimes where we've inherited emotional pain from, you know, our ancestors and things like that, that can still stay in our bodies, and it can actually affect our health later on down the line if we don't take care of it. So this is kind of like a little supercharged opportunity to kind of just pay attention to where you might have been getting little niggles about certain emotional patterns. You know, if there's certain things that you're doing to possibly escape emotional pain or mental anguish, if there's certain things you've been doing to try and numb from those things, it might come up to the surface during this time to be examined and healed and purified and moved on. And it's always, you know, for our highest good. So sometimes when, you know, the body gets inflamed, it's usually a warning sign from the body saying, hey, there's something to pay attention to here. There's something under the surface that I'm unhappy about. And usually, more often than not, the root stem of that, the root cause of that inflammation or disease is normally emotional. It very often links back to being emotional. So she gives us this sort of holistic perspective, if you like. So without further ado, to introduce the three piles, we have got for pile number 1, the Thorn, which says protection, boundaries, and clear communication. So if you're drawn to this one, you'll be pile 1, and the timestamps will be in the description box below, as always. So pile number 2, we have the child within, inner mother, innocence, gentleness, and tenderness. And pile number 3, we've got healing the motherline, healing, ancestral work, motherline, and growing up. Okay, my love, so pause the video if you need a little bit more time to choose which pile is most drawing you in. Trust your intuition if you're drawn to more than one pile. It may be that there are healing messages across the piles or different aspects of healing that you're working through at the moment. You know, healing is never a linear thing. It's always cyclical. So sometimes you might be sort of closing out one cycle, but just starting on another, or all of these things can certainly like interrelate and things like that. So you may well be drawn to more than one. And it may well be that there's more than one, say, pattern or more than one particular pain point or something like that that might come up during this transit to be looked at and for healing to begin. So just see what you're feeling called to. Okay, my loves, I will see you in your pile. Hi there, pile 1. If you chose the Thorn card, this will be your reading on what emotional healing do you need right now. So I'm going to start off actually by reading from the Rose Oracle Guidebook, where this card comes from. So let's start off with the guidance from the book. So we've got the rose is the queen of all flowers. Her soft and often fragrant bloom takes our breath away from near and far. A bridge between heaven and earth, she has the capacity to act as a portal to our true selves and call our soul more fully into our body. She leaves us in awe, allowing us to experience heaven on earth for a very precious moment. But the rose is not all gentle and soft. In fact, most roses are armored with spiky thorns and prickles of various shapes and sizes. These sharp protectors act like knights defending their queen, clearly setting the necessary boundary and conditions for her to do what she was born to do. We too are like the rose. So often we don't get taught how important clear communication and loving boundaries are to our relationships. When we're not clear on our needs, when we don't communicate them, when we don't take responsibility for them, it's impossible for others to give us what we need. This often results in a breakdown in the relationship. Communicating our needs and establishing our boundaries allows not just us to feel safe, but those we're in a relationship with to feel safe too. This card delivers the message of the importance of clear communication boundaries and taking responsibility for our needs. To be clear with others, we must first be clear with ourselves and then communicate this to our loved ones in the world. And the soul inquiry is, what loving boundaries are you being called to establish, and how are you being called to communicate clearly to those you're in a relationship with? Okay, so it seems like how number one, oh, I'm just noticing actually on this card, there's like two, like an image of like a little child kind of on either side of this figure. So it feels like there's some sort of a boundary that perhaps either wasn't clearly established, or where you attempted to establish some kind of boundaries or communicate your needs, they were disregarded by someone. And so there's a need to like really strengthen those boundaries, to really assert those boundaries, to put really strong, sharp, protective boundaries in place in order to like protect your inner self, your innermost self. That it's like your inner child, or a sort of very innocent part of yourself, is asking for you now, or your higher self, to come through and put a sort of, like these thorns of protection around the beautiful bloom that is yourself. When I was reading out the message, I was hearing people pleasing. So I feel like possibly for some of you, this could be something that you may struggle with because of a tendency to people please. You may have had that pattern to you in childhood, or may have been, conditioned in order to, and I just saw 11:11 on the clock when I said that, you were conditioned to, give up your boundaries, to, not be allowed boundaries in some way. Maybe you were raised in a very emotionally manipulative environment or something like that. And I'm so sorry if you have been through something like that. I'm going to start with I've got the Aboriginal Chakra Goddess here, so we're going to just take a look at this and get a little bit more guidance, and then I'm also going to look at the Tarot as well, and we'll finish up with a Creative Consciousness Healing card and some Self-Care Oracle cards. So Tides of Power 1, could we get some more guidance on this emotional healing? Oh, interesting. Oh, sorry, that's my alarm. So we've got creativity, which I'm seeing both the sacral chakra and the solar plexus chakra here. So maybe the boundaries and the communication could be around some sort of creative project. Maybe some of you are involved in something you're trying to create, or this could be a creative project at work, for example. So this, relationship doesn't just have to be romantic relationships. It could also be relationships with colleagues, relationship, with a boss, or, someone that you're doing a creative project with, or something like that. But I feel like maybe also this could be to do with doing some journaling or creative, like art therapy or something, to heal any blocks in your sacral chakra and also your solar plexus chakra. Your solar plexus chakra in particular, which is symbolized by the color yellow here, is related to standing strong in your personal power. And so that is the place where, and also you can see the this rose here is right in front of her solar plexus chakra, right in her core kind of thing. So when you have a really strong, healthy, balanced solar plexus chakra, you're able to stand firm in your boundaries, stand strong in your personal power, stand strong in your authenticity, be confident in yourself, all of that kind of thing. Like shine your light from a it's like, you know who you are and you know what you stand for kind of thing. And you don't let anyone else like take your energy. Or try to like siphon your energy. I'm seeing also with this kind of spiral, this looks a little bit like Hygeia's snake here, her spiraling snake. It's kind of a symbol of the feminine. It's a symbol of Kundalini energy. So there could be something around your life force having been possibly impacted a little bit by these boundaries not being set really strong. And again, this could have been in a romantic relationship. It could just be in all relationships. It could be just generally, if your energy boundaries aren't really strong, if your solar plexus isn't really strong and protected, it could be that you could be leaking energy, or there could be like energy vampires trying to come in and like leech your creative life force energy, your Kundalini life force energy. So there might be something around needing to put energy boundaries in place, or needing to put strong like emotional boundaries in place, particularly with regard to your needs. The other example, or the other aspect I'm being shown with this is, along with doing some sort of creative healing, like journaling process or art therapy and things like that, this could also be where because you perhaps struggle with expressing your needs and clearly communicating your needs, possibly what this could look like is that in a romantic relationship or something like that, you haven't carved out the time that you need in order to honor your creative self, to honor your creativity and your like your sacral energy, that energy related to passion and what you're creatively feeling called to make, or what you doing things for enjoyment or doing things for sensual pleasure. So it may be that you perhaps weren't able to carve out like strong enough boundaries for your own creative work. Perhaps some of you are writers or painters or something like that, and you're struggling to set boundaries, whether within your family, within a partnership, or even with your work. Maybe some of you are struggling to set a strong boundary with your job. Like maybe your boss is being really over demanding, right? And like expecting you to take work home and everything, work beyond your normal hours or something like that. And maybe some of you don't feel confident to like set those strong boundaries with your boss, and you feel like you need to please them all the time and get validation from that work. And so your creative work ends up kind of going out the window, or you're not able to kind of give it its due, is what I'm hearing. So let's see if there's any other guidance from, oh wow, and universal love. So we've also got heart chakra. Yeah, so I feel like this is what this is bringing to mind. What this is bringing to mind for me is this figure sitting right in the center of the heart. Is like there's a need to kind of put yourself first and put yourself back like in the center of your heart, really grounded into your heart chakra. The figure is like sitting down, their hands are kind of out pointed to the earth. So there's like this feeling of like taking up residence, like taking a seat in your heart space. And like really you're the one who chooses what energy you let in. You choose who you give and receive love from. You choose like who you engage with. You choose like how much energy you want to give. It's like you hold the reins with regard to that. It's like it's your body, your heart, your energy, your Kundalini life force energy. So there's a need for you to kind of take up that space and take up that authority and like really protect yourself. It's like I feel like, yeah, I'm just seeing in front of the figure this white vortex. So maybe there's been possibly like some sort of illusion or something, or someone trying to like kind of, it's like sort of whitewash you. What, Spirit, what do you mean by that? Whitewash? Brainwash? Kind of brainwash, or like emotionally manipulate, I guess. Possibly this could be narcissistic abuse. I'm so sorry if you've been through something like that. I really do understand that, and I can understand the need for strong, healthy boundaries, because those types of toxic relationships and patterns can often crop up when we haven't got really strong boundaries, and we're often trying to like sacrifice ourselves in exchange for love and validation from partners who are not healthy enough to honor our needs. And the counterbalance to that is usually that it's like attracts likes, or it's kind of an energetic attraction, where like if you're in a position where you haven't got any boundaries, you haven't got these thorns of protection up around your kind of life force and your energy, it often attracts energy vampire type people, or often attracts people who want to kind of come in and sort of take advantage of your kindness and your empathic nature and all that kind of thing. And it is really tough, and I do understand like that type of dynamic. I've been in something like that many years ago, and it was extremely difficult to heal from. But it's one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself, to pull yourself out of a situation like that. Go through the necessary emotional healing and heart chakra healing and solar plexus chakra healing, and sacral chakra healing, actually, because it usually then affects like your Kundalini life force, your sensual and sexual energy centers as well. So yeah, it's quite a healing process, but so important to go through. And once you do, like, trust me, I have come out the other side, and I'm now in a lovely, healthy relationship. And it was very difficult to go through this process, and to kind of like clear away that like vampiric type energy. Where previously I hadn't unfortunately set up strong enough boundaries. And so it really did take a lot of my life force. Some of you might be finding, if you're in a relationship like that, one of the big signs of something like that is that you feel drained all the time. You feel really, really drained, really, really like disconnected from yourself. You may be weepy without really realizing why. Those are all signs that you're in something like that, and that your energy is being vampired essentially, or your energy is being kind of sucked from you. So boundaries are just kind of coming through more and more, and like the need to kind of like take up residence again, put yourself first. Like, you're the priority here. Like, you've got to care for yourself, you've got to love yourself, you've got to show yourself the love and attention that you would normally reserve for others. And also this card, as I think I mentioned when I was reading out the introduction, this card talks about like essentially being needing to know yourself and to get clear on what your boundaries are and what you will and will not tolerate and what you need, like just getting really clear on your own needs so that you can then clearly communicate them with others. And it may be that, sometimes in abusive relationships, or toxic relationships or difficult relationships, you tried to communicate your needs, but it wasn't heard, or it was, sort of whitewashed. It's like anything you tried to say got sort of like wiped over type thing. It's like the person would manipulate your words or turn them against you, or just disregard, or whatever it was, maybe neglect. So I'm so sorry you've been through something like that, if this is what's resonating. If it's not an emotional relationship, if it's not a like romantic relationship, this may have been like a toxic workplace, even toxic boss. These kind of dynamics can certainly play out in toxic workplaces. So, take it as it resonates. Or it could have been with a partner that you were trying to work on a creative project with. It could be at school, you could be studying, and this could be, you didn't set up healthy boundaries with regard to a creative project, and maybe someone stole your ideas, or they like just took all your work and used it in their project or something like that. So yeah, boundaries are just coming up over and over. It's just what I keep hearing for you. And the importance of like clearing your energy field, maybe doing like cord cutting as well to help restore your energy. Some people aren't a fan of cord cutting, so there's other techniques that you can use to like seal your energy body and things like that, to like release any energy vampire type energy, or anything that's like gotten attached to your auric field from the outside, where it's trying to sort of siphon your energy. So have a look around, see what resonates for you. Have a look on Google. I personally find the cord cutting very powerful, but I will often complete doing something like that with like a auric shield as well, because sometimes when you it's like nature abhors a vacuum, right? So if you cord cut and it leaves a big gap in your energy field where that big cord was attached, you're leaving yourself open to other energy coming into that space. So just making sure you're then shielding your energy is really important. So I feel like for you, Pile 1, I'm picking up definitely like empath energy, or very sensitive, highly sensitive energy. So shielding your energy before you go into public places even, or certainly when you're interacting closely with people, is very important for you. Can we get a creative consciousness card for Pile? Oh wow, yes. Nurture. Giving yourself love, care, and encouragement. Oh, I love this. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying with the universal love card, is like, putting yourself at the center of your life, like, nurturing yourself as you would others, like giving yourself the love and care that you would normally give to other people. Actually, I feel like putting that in the middle. Just doing everything you can to support yourself, to care for yourself. Loads and loads of self-care at this time. Let's have a look at the tarot. I want to just get a little bit more of an idea of the energy that you're in right now. So what is this situation, this emotional healing that pile one needs to do? It's a very noisy card. What is the... Whoa, okay. Wow, yeah, okay. So I do feel like it might be kind of emotional here. So we've got Three of Swords, which can be to do with like a heartbreak, being betrayed, being upset, you know, an ending of a relationship, a breakdown of a relationship, something like that. So I do kind of get the vibes that for most of you, this will probably be a romantic situation. Or if not, then it could just be something you've been very emotionally invested in, or another kind of relationship you were very emotionally invested in, a friendship even, or, you know, a close colleague, or a close creative partner. And I feel like, you know, you're dealing with like, yeah, a lot of emotional pain, a lot of heart chakra pain here, where there's just like, yeah, I'm kind of picking up, sorry, I'm sometimes clear sentient, so occasionally I empathically feel when I tune into the energy, so I'm taking a deep breath because I can feel your heart pain right now. So I'm so sorry, pile one, you've been through something like this, but if you can take any heed from my, or any encouragement from my story, I feel like, you know, it is so painful and so difficult to heal from something like this. But, you know, with Goddess Hygeia being here, she's I feel like this has come about, this painful ending has come about in order to like purify your energy from something that was quite toxic, or something that was ultimately just going to keep like hurting you. I feel like with the Nine of Swords here, this was a situation that was bringing you a lot of anxiety, maybe insomnia, you know, a lot of just like emotional and mental anguish as well, because swords are to do with the mind. And as we've got the heart here pierced by swords, and then the mind here as well, like the swords are just, you know, keeping you up at night, you're stressing about it, you know, it's causing a lot of anguish. And I feel like as well, it's like, you know, again, related to rest, you're not getting maybe enough rest, or, you know, this relationship or this energy has been like, taking away from your mental health, taking away from, you know, your energy, from your sleep. But I feel like with the Wheel of Fortune here, it's interesting. We've got a like cycle, like a, what do you call? Yeah, like a cyclical kind of spiral. A spiral was the word I was trying to get at. There's a spiral here and here as well. And I feel like it's to me, this is like a sort of a healing spiral. You know, when we start on our healing process, and I'm not meaning to suggest like, oh, you're a newbie to healing or anything like that. This is, you know, all healing is cyclical. So maybe for some of you, this is an old relationship, right? This could be something from even a while ago. And this is just another cycle of healing an old heartbreak, you know, and the subsequent mental anguish from that particular time, you know. And you may have learned certain lessons around like setting boundaries, but now you're in the next stage of the cycle around like, you know, nurturing yourself and really caring for yourself and really loving yourself, and showing yourself all the love and putting yourself first and putting yourself back in the center of like your heart space, taking really good care of yourself. So I feel like there's a deepening for some of you who have started on that healing journey already. There's like a deepening in that process. There's like a deepening of the spiral. Also, it reminds me of like the symbol of the heroine's journey, which I've got that book here. I've mentioned it on my channel before, which here it is. It talks about, by Maureen Murdoch, Women's Quest for Wholeness. Amazing book, would highly recommend, very healing. And it talks about how, you know, the heroine's journey isn't about sort of going out in the world and fighting dragons and all that kind of stuff. It's an inner process. It's an inner spiraling journey that, like, you know, sheds all the layers, as we're talking about with Hygeia and the snake. And we've got the snake, this sort of symbolism of the snake here as well, and this, yeah, the same spiral as well. Lots of spirals on your card. So there's a spiraling, there's a deepening to this emotional healing, shedding the outer conditioning, shedding the parts of the self that are dying away, and getting closer and closer to the like core of yourself. You know, in terms of tarot, the Wheel of Fortune talks about like a change in circumstances, the wheel turning, right? Like things going from being really bad to eventually coming around, so that, you know, you see a change in your fortune, you see an upswing after a downswing. So I feel like even though you've been through all of this difficulty, all of this emotional pain, whether this is now, you're in this right now, whether you're in the process of trying to get out of this, whether this was something you got out of a while ago and you're trying to just still in a healing cycle, you know, which, like I said, it's cyclical. You know, I still have things that from that one relationship, which wasn't even that long, I still have things that come up now because it's a cyclical process. And even though I did a lot of like various therapeutic things and goddess healing and energy healing, and I'm not even going to go into the whole list of things. There was so much at the time, but like occasionally now I'll still get the odd trigger, and you know, those are things I'm working on as well. So, you know, it's never really, it's not like a, you know, one size fits all, or like, you know, one 5-step process and boom, you're healed from that kind of abuse or whatever. Often, you know, these things come from childhood, like the pattern can come from childhood, you know, the pattern of people pleasing, or the pattern of not setting boundaries, the pattern of not taking responsibilities for our needs. With, you know, often empaths have been taught, you know, and conditioned to be there for everyone else, you know, so we often deny our emotional needs, or you know, aren't even in a position to be able to tune into what they are. So that's why this is coming up about, you know, reconnecting with yourself, putting yourself first, and also you know, where it says like universal love, like being connected to the source of like, you know, your, like the universe, or you know, spirit, or you know, the wider pool of love, rather than necessarily needing to get it from one particular source or something like that. Like being able to, you know, open up to receiving love from the universe, receiving love from your guides, receiving love from the angels, you know, whatever it is that you kind of connect with spiritually. So let's see, let's finish up with some self-care oracle. So can we get, oops, these cards are being a little bit sticky. Spirit, can we finish pile 1's reading with some self-care messages? What self-care can pile 1 do? What self-care? Whoop, there we go. Energy work, yeah. I felt this for sure when I was talking about the chakras here. So, yeah, doing some kind of energy work. We can see all the 7 main chakras here. So I picked up in particular solar plexus and heart chakra. So particularly if you have had some kind of heartbreak, doing heart chakra healing. So there's loads of music online for those of you that might be new to chakra healing. There's a lot of YouTube channels that do the chakra music. So even just putting it on, getting crystals and the colors of the chakras can also help put, you know, you can put them on your energy centers. You can lie down and sort of place the crystal on your energy centers and just listen to the music as you're doing that for like a 20-minute meditation. One crystal that I used that was really helpful for healing the heart chakra is rose quartz. I used that a lot after I went through this difficult relationship. So that really, really helps with connecting with self-love, a sense of self-love, and being able to like nurture the self, show yourself love, show yourself care, and also connect with a sense of universal love as well. Because particularly, you know, when you go through those kind of relationships, you can come out feeling very because they can sometimes operate a bit like an addiction. And so when you come out of them, you can feel a really strong sense of withdrawal. Because for empaths, often the way our energy works is that we feel full or fulfilled when we're giving a lot of energy to others. And that's why boundaries are like super, super important, because that is good only when we're doing that from a full cup and from a healthy place. And so sometimes when you go through that type of breakup, depending on where you're at with this, you might have had quite a strong like withdrawals or something along those lines. And also for those of you that are feeling really drained, that are, suffering from a lot of like insomnia or mental anguish, like, it's keeping you up at night and things like that, doing energy work. Maybe yoga nidra could be really helpful to get rest. Maybe going to an energy healer could be really helpful as well. So yeah. So whoops, oh my gosh, that came out really fast. Oh, yes. And rest. What was I saying about? Yeah, I was literally just saying about making sure you're getting rest, and the rest card came flying out in confirmation of that. So, yeah, making sure you're getting lots of sleep, and don't feel, if anyone is going to criticize that, then they can go away, because when you've been through something like this and you're healing from it, you need so much rest and so much energy work to restore your energy field, because, if you've tried to set boundaries and they've been roughshod over, or you've been like emotionally manipulated or brainwashed in any way, and had your energy sort of like pulled from you, and again, when I'm talking about energy vampirism, this isn't conscious. This is always, well, usually like 99% of the time it's unconsciously done, unless you've gone to some sort of like scary dark magic practitioner or something who's done it deliberately. But more or less, most of the time when it's in a romantic relationship, this is just very unconscious stuff, and it's often a soul agreement that happens, and it's usually designed, unfortunately, in order for the empath to then wake up to their own power and their need to set healthy boundaries and not give their energy to everyone. So for some of you, you may have had some sort of like someone draining your life or someone draining your energy unconsciously. Just through like taking advantage of your kindness, taking advantage of your nurturing nature, sort of walking over your needs and expecting you to meet all of theirs, things like that. And that can be very tiring and draining and depleting of your life force. So you need a lot of rest at the moment to restore yourself, to restore your energy system, essentially, and to receive the healing from like the universe and your guides that you need at this time as well. And also, I'm just noticing the rainbow on her shoulder, which is linked to the 7 colors of the rainbow, are linked to the 7 chakras. So there's like a double message about doing chakra healing at the moment. Okay, my loves, I feel like that is all the messages I have for you today from Goddess Hygeia. I hope this resonated for you. All the best with your healing journey. Leave a message below if you feel comfortable sharing, or drop me an emoji if it resonated. It really helps my channel to grow. Hit the like button if you resonated with the reading. It helps tell me what content is resonating for you guys at the moment. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already part of the community. I would love to have you here. And I will leave you there, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye. Hi there, Pile 2. If you chose the Child Within card with inner mother, innocence, gentleness, and tenderness, this will be your reading. So straight off the bat, I feel a fairly straightforward message coming through from your pile. I feel like the emotional healing that you need to focus on at the moment, or what might be coming up for you during this Hygeia in Pisces transit, is a focus on your inner child and doing some inner child healing and like remothering yourself or reparenting yourself, returning to a sense of like innocence, returning to a sense of like your origin self is what I'm hearing, which is kind of a strange way of phrasing it, but like your original self, I guess, like who you were before you were, conditioned and projected upon, and expectations were put on you and all that kind of stuff, from whether it's from family. You might have still had a really good supportive family, but this could be, even conditioning and things we receive from school, from peers, from the media, all that kind of thing. And I just feel like there's a little child within you that really wants to be heard in some way, or wants to be nurtured in some way. So let's have a little bit more of a look at some of the other cards and get some more guidance here. So what is the emotional healing? Ooh. Oh, yes. Yeah, interesting. I was kind of feeling an energy that wants to express itself, and we've got this card is linked with the throat chakra, which is all about self-expression, expressing your truth, being authentic to yourself, like being in touch with your own needs, being able to express your needs. And we've got divine messenger here. So I feel like in the context of this reading, I feel like there's like messages that your inner child wants to give to you, wants to express to you, wants to communicate to you, and they want you to find a way to connect with that part so that you can receive these messages and like take action on them, essentially, like then be able to I'm just kind of seeing these little blue circles with like little radiuses around them. It's kind of like there's maybe, I'm kind of getting a creative vibe from you, Pal, too. Some of you might be very creative. You might have a lot of creative ideas that your inner child is like really eager to pass on and help you sort of work on in some way or contribute to in some way. Or this could just even be like, you know, giving voice to certain feelings, you know, because this is about emotional healing. So there could just be some feelings that, you know, your inner child, your childhood self might have gotten a little bit, you know, maybe you weren't able to process them fully in your childhood. You weren't able to give voice to them. You weren't able to understand them fully. And so now, like, your inner child self is asking your adult self or your higher self to get back in touch with them, because they're still there's like still some unprocessed emotions that kind of want to be like, I'm kind of seeing them being like purged or released out or like expressed. Whoops, sorry, just knocked over my crystals there. Expressed out into the world. That could be yeah, okay, I'm just getting, because everything that happens in a reading is often symbolic of something. So the fact I did that could be that maybe, yeah, it was like a sweeping motion that knocked over. So like there could have been emotions that were swept under the rug a little bit, maybe in childhood. And this could be, you know, not because like that this was your fault or anything. It was just, you know, there wasn't the time and space or the emotional capacity to, you know, give heed to those emotions at the time. There wasn't, you know, the right kind of people around to listen to them, or maybe you went through some kind of trauma, or just some difficult emotions. Maybe there was just some difficult event that you had difficulty processing, and your inner child's asking you to kind of like remother that self, to like really, you know, do how you would for a child now, like take your inner child by its hand and really listen to it and give it space to be a messenger for you. Because I feel like there are messages that you know, it's like a divine messenger. It's like your inner child is a divine messenger for you. It's going to help heal you in some way. So, whoa, oh my gosh, we've got more. Wow, that's quite a lot. Okay, I feel like it's just this one. So we've got another throat chakra card here. So throat chakra is a huge one for you, pile number 2. So Goddess Ma'at, who is the goddess of truth and justice. And she's an Egyptian goddess of truth and justice. And she's a goddess who, she's also looks after like karma, in the sense of like weighing. She has the scales of justice, and at the end of one's life, she would weigh, you know, everyone's deeds with, I think it was like a heart in one side of the scale and a feather in the other or something. And it was like, you know, depending on how much weight had been put into things that weren't really healthy for the person or for humanity or whatever like that, versus things that were good for the person. So there's something around like weighing something, or like getting to the bottom of something, getting to the truth of something, getting to the core of yourself. I'm feeling called to read the book on this one, because there might be a specific message from Ma'at about okay. So Ma'at is the Egyptian goddess who, after the universe was created, brought harmony to the world amidst the chaos which occurred shortly after its creation. Blah, blah, blah. Ma'at was not only a goddess, but she came to represent the 42 principles of Ma'at, which the laws of truth and justice, and at the time of her death, these principles were used in measurement against a feather. That was what I was trying to get at. To determine whether a soul can enter the divine order of the afterlife. This final judgment is based on the ways in which a person has lived their lives and treated other people. Similar to the principles of Mart, you too are in a position to make a decision about someone in your life. You hold a position of power where your judgment of justice and truth will determine the outcome of the situation. Do not fear such decisions, as it is likely that your anger will fall short of what others are expecting of you. Somewhere hidden in this situation is a truth which will make a considerable difference to the outcome. Others know the truth, however, they will not stand up and be heard, as they are fearful the focus will turn to them. You too are being judged for your ability to handle this situation, as many think it is beyond you to end this amicably, as it would require a great deal of compassion and understanding on your part. You will rise above everyone's expectations and manage this situation with an honorable sense of dignity and justice. Wow, okay. That's a very specific message. That might be for just one person, possibly, about being in a situation related to justice or a judgment, or needing to like find the truth about a certain person or something. But the other thing I was picking up strongly when I was reading that message was that you have been judged. Possibly as a child, you might have received a lot of judgment for who you really were. Oh yeah, as I'm tuning into your energy now, I'm kind of feeling that. Possibly this was from within your family. It might have been peers. It might have been at your school. Just people in your neighborhood. You know, kids can be little brats, little shit sometimes. You know, especially like early middle school girls. My goodness, the viciousness. So yeah, maybe for who you were, you were judged for who you were, or maybe you have really strong principles and you know, like it was talking about in this card, like you are able to handle things with like dignity and a sense of like fairness and what is right, and you're able to kind of tune in and like assess the situation. And maybe when you acted that way, like you came up against a lot of judgment from other people or something kind of like that. It's like you've been the victim of being judged, I feel like. Or if not, then there's something, maybe there's just a part of you, like a pattern or something that you've inherited. It could be from, you know, a parent. You could have a parent who they're very hard on themselves or very judgmental about themselves. They hold themselves to a really high standard, and you've inherited that pattern. And now in turn, you're really, really hard on yourself and really judgmental towards yourself if you don't, you know, because there's this whole thing of kind of weighing up your acts and like seeing, you know, if what you've done is kind of good enough to get into the afterlife. So, you know, possibly some of you might have been raised in a religious environment, I'm getting as well, like where there's, you know, a sense of like, you know, needing to, like I'm hearing please God, or like sort of do certain things in order to like be accepted to heaven, and like sort of having your tasks or your actions be weighed and measured constantly. So I'm kind of getting vibes of like Catholic Church. So comment below if you feel comfortable sharing. I also grew up in the Catholic Church, so I totally know what that's like. The whole like having to confess your sins and stuff. Not to knock religion, sometimes it has its place, right? But you know, most of the time it just is. Yeah, I also went to a very like a Christian school that was, yeah, had a lot of very judgmental Christian people. So yeah, you might have been subjected to something similar, where maybe you were judged because you believe something differently, or you were trying to sort of fit in with that, but like, you know, for some reason people thought you fell short, or just generally the church or the youth group or something you went to, like there was just always that sense of like, you know, needing to prove yourself in order to be accepted into the afterlife or into heaven, or, you know, to you know, release your sins or whatever it was. You know, it could have been any type of religion, but I'm kind of just getting a vibe of someone who either was bullied and judged for their identity, or possibly judged for like judgment was a part of the family dynamic, or criticism. So there may be blocks to the throat chakra that need to be healed in order for you to like get back in touch with your authentic self, get back in touch with your child self, allow your original self to be able to express itself and communicate. And then also another sort of group within that who may have been judged because of religion or something along those lines. So yes, interesting. Let's get a creative consciousness healing card. What healing does pile 2 need to do? Self-soothing, creating safety and calm. Wow. Okay. So yeah, there might be some trauma from this I'm getting. So some sort of judgment wound, some sort of throat chakra wound that could be residing in the body, and could actually be something that actually triggers you now. So possibly if you're around people who are very critical or judgmental or hard on you, this could be even in the workplace or something, you may find yourself getting triggered, or you may end up, possibly being in relationships where you attract, because that's kind of how you feel about yourself on the inside, you may attract that kind of energy in your outer life in some sorts of relationships and things. So self-soothing, so soothing is a big technique with trauma. So yeah, creating safety and calm. And I feel like I didn't do this with the other part, but I feel like actually reading the ritual for you guys. So 24. Oops, here we go. Self-soothing. So yeah, nervous system calming, safety within self, connecting back to self in times of stress. So feeling stress and overwhelm in life can cause us to look for answers and comfort on the outside. Cultivating the power to calm and soothe ourselves is an important skill that takes practice. Learning what your body, mind, and soul need in times of stress can create automatic, healthy coping strategies when we need them the most. This card comes to you with the message that you are always safe within the warm home of your body. Allow the messages from this card to connect you back to the power of soothing your own sweet self. Yeah, it's very... I've put this under this child within card because it's kind of like that's what this mother is doing with this little baby. She's like kind of holding it, really gently. There's a message of like gentleness and tenderness. So it's like really cradling your inner self and soothing your inner self kind of thing. When a baby gets like kind of upset and when they're like, trying to think of the right word. I'm not a parent, but I've seen friends with children when they're sort of, it's not fussing, but I hope you know what I mean, when they're kind of like, there's like almost like a distraught energy, like something's kind of disturbed them. And I feel like there's a part of your inner child that may still have that part that gets like stressed and kind of like a bit distraught about certain things. And so there's this need to kind of like really very tenderly heal that part and soothe that part. So here, I'll hold up the creative visualization to the camera in case you want to do this in your own time, but I'll read it out as well. So close your eyes and imagine an orb that's full of pink light and warm oceans, and the deepest pink love for your dear self is floating in front of you. Feel its warm softness and cool, soothing healing. Watch as shimmering strands of iridescent light flow from the orb, raining down like the softest, silkiest hair. Reach out and run your hands through the strands. You've never felt anything so smooth, silky, cool, and soft between your fingers. The feeling is so pleasant and soothing. As you run your fingers through the strands, your hands fill up with this light. Touch your hands to a part of your body that needs soothing. This could be your heart, stomach, head, anywhere you need physical and emotional soothing. Allow that part to be filled up with this warm, loving light. Feel and release all emotions that come up as you soothe yourself deeply down to your cells. Yeah, I felt that with this the Divine Messenger or Child Messenger card, about feel and release all emotions that come up as you soothe yourself deeply. There's like some emotions that want to be expressed. These little kind of, I don't even know what you call them. They look like little seashell things. They're like, they want to be out of you. They want to be released and purged. So soothing yourself as you allow the emotions of childhood, emotions of, any blocked emotions from your childhood or teenage years or anything where you went through any kind of difficulty. And you'll know if like your nervous system is, you'll know if you need this kind of deeper healing, if your nervous system is constantly getting like on high alert. Like I'm hearing some of you may have something like CPTSD. So you may already know what that is and be working with it. You may have even gone to therapy, or you may have techniques that you use to deal with that. But if not, I'd encourage you to look that up and learn a little bit more about it. There's some great channels on YouTube. There's one called The Crappy Childhood Fairy, I think her name is, who does a lot about CPTSD. There's another guy, oh my gosh, what is his name? Peter Levine, I think, who wrote a book called something like Waking the Tiger, it might have been. I can't remember. This was years ago I looked into this. But he talks this, he's got various videos and things on YouTube and books, and he talks about one of the soothing techniques when your nervous system has been aggravated by a PTSD or CPTSD attack is to put one arm, like your right arm, it's hard to explain, I kind of need to show you. If you look it up, there's like a technique where you put your hand under your armpit and then your left arm wraps around and like then goes over so that you're covering your heart, and that can just like calm your nervous system down. It really works. I would recommend. So I'm gonna have a little look at the tarot to get a little bit more. I should have probably done that before the ritual card, but let's just get some more confirmation on what it is. What is the emotional healing? Ace of Swords. I feel like that wants to be upright. Yeah, I'm going to put this here. I feel like this is truth. There's some sort of truth, some sort of clarity and truth that wants to like be expressed, that wants to be like, I feel like it's going to kind of come to you with the lightning. It's like this is going to be like a bit of an epiphany or a bit of an awakening kind of thing. We've also got this figure of 8, this infinity symbol here. So I feel like as you heal the inner self, things will start to heal and be reflected in your outer life. You know, that is that infinity symbol, as above, so below, as within, so without. So there's something that's going to, and you getting in touch with this truth, there's something that's going to like heal in your life and then start to reflect on the outside as well. Whoa, that came flying out. Wow. And we've got a spider with the 8 of Pentacles. It's like weaving something all together. You're working on something. Something's in the process of being woven together. Interesting. It's interesting how there's kind of like these sort of spidery things around the head as well. Like that kind of almost looks like a web. I'm hearing web of deception. Okay, so yeah, maybe there was a person in your life, whether this was in your childhood or in recent years or something, who deceived you. You know, that could be what I was talking about with that Mart situation, which seemed quite specific about like you had the ability to discern if someone was like, you know, not being truthful or, you know, something like that, or to discern a situation. So yeah, there could have been like something where you were in some sort of a deceitful situation, or more generally speaking, you know, this could be where your caregivers or people around you just didn't give you the emotional support you needed. They weren't like, they didn't honor your true self. They didn't honor your authentic self. They didn't honor your needs. It's like you were, you were very judged. You know, again, I'm coming back to that storyline of someone who just received a lot of judgments, whether that was from a parent figure or from, you know, religion or from the schooling or whatever it was. It's like there was a lot of deception. There were a lot of lies that were told to you. That's why there's like so much around like the throat chakra and truth, and also swords are to do with truth as well. And the Ace of Swords is a truthful new beginning, like a new beginning. You know, it's related to clarity and speaking your truth and, you know, really kind of putting that sword in the ground and being like, no, this is who I am. So maybe there's a aspect of yourself that's like standing up to someone and kind of coming out, you know, being true to yourself in some way that maybe other people haven't seen in you before. So you're having this whole new beginning where it's like, no, like I've got in touch with who I really am now. And, you know, I've been living this lie. I've been living this like, you know, I have all these negative opinions about myself that are not true. They're not true. They're not, it isn't me. That's not really who I really am. That's just like this like web of deception that people have tried to spin for me and tell me that I was this, you know, terrible person because I was XYZ, you know. And like you're releasing all of that and going after your own truth. So amazing. I'm hearing one more. One more card for pile 3. What emotional healing? Sorry, pile 2, I should say. Maybe this is going to be messages on pile 3. Wow, Father of Wands. Whoops, it's got some wax on the card. More lightning. Yeah, so more kind of like something kind of striking you, like some sort of epiphany. So this could be Father of Wands. I'm hearing, like, you know, this can sometimes be another figure in your life, but I feel like this is more like you. This is the King of Wands. And I'm getting like an energy where you are like, you're just like standing up for yourself, and like you're defending yourself. It's like, I'm sort of getting 7 of Wands vibe from this King of Wands. Like, it's like you're, you know, the snake looks like, you know, it's got its tongue out, it's coiled, but like it's poised, ready to, you know, it could just like strike, kind of thing. So there's like this fiery lightning kind of coming in with like fire colors sort of behind it, like root chakra and sacral chakra. So root chakra healing could be called for, as well as the throat chakra and possibly even sacral chakra. So maybe, yeah, healing that could link definitely the root chakra and the throat chakra. The throat chakra could be blocked, and your access to like your inner child could be blocked because of some root chakra wound, you know, which is related to your roots, your home, your childhood, your, you know, sense of security, sense of stability. And especially with self-soothing, you know, that can often be as a result of not feeling secure, not feeling safe. But I feel like one thing that, like, you're cutting this web of deceit, or this like energy that's been like distracting you from who you really are, or kind of like keeping you from who you really are. You're re-nurturing and reparenting your inner child. You're finding your inner truth. You're getting justice in some kind of situation, and you're having this truthful new beginning where like you're able to really like defend yourself and stand up for yourself. So particularly if you have felt very unsafe in certain situations, or you felt, actually I want to put these together, you felt yeah, like, you know, if you're in need of soothing, you might have felt traumatized, or that your traumas are being re-triggered a lot, like you don't feel like you can really defend yourself. And we had with March as well something to do with like justice and defense. So there's something around like defending yourself in regard to something, in regard to the truth of a situation or something. It might be different for all of you, and I'm not going to get too much further along with the tarot into specifics, because it, you know, the individual situations will be quite different. But at the end of the day, like you're finding your truth. You're having this, like, I feel like this kind of lightning moment where maybe you're getting some downloads or some epiphanies, or just a lot of clarity kind of coming through about like who you really are, and getting to like your core, I'm hearing that like origin self again. So yeah, letting go of conditioning, letting go of judgment, letting go of deception, letting go of, you know, like projection, or like any kind of religious conditioning or anything like that. So let's finish up with some self-care messages. What self-care can pile 2 do now to support themselves with this emotional healing? Whoa. Okay, we've got intuition. Yeah, it's interesting. There's like it's like there's layers of kind of smaller people within, and then there's like this little person within. It's kind of a similar vibe to this card, with this kind of like portal, and then like your higher self, your adult self, and then like your inner self. It's kind of the same kind of thing here. This is like your higher cosmic kind of self. This is your truthful self, your authentic self. This is your like your heart self, and this is your child self that's like within you. So it's like connecting in with the layers of your being, with your inner selves, with your inner child, with your inner like teenage self, or, you know, whatever it is. Yeah. and trusting your intuition about something, because especially if you have been deceived, and I don't know what the specifics of that are, but you know, or someone's tried to take your truth away from you, or they've tried to project something onto you that is absolutely not true. It's like tuning into your intuition will really help you to discern, you know, your truth, and find clarity again as well, and then be able to be in a position to like trust yourself and defend yourself. And then we've also got burning bowl rituals. So yeah, possibly like, you know, writing a letter to those people who did this to you, who were judgmental or whatever it might have been, or deceptive or whatever, or just mean, you know, like kids at school or whatever it was. You know, we can carry those wounds with us for a long time, and it can push certain aspects of our origin self or our child self into our shadow, and we can deem those parts of ourselves as like, you know, not worthy to see the light of day, or not worthy to be seen, when actually, like, you know, if we're around people who love us unconditionally, they love those aspects of ourselves, but it was just that in the environment that we were in as children or something, you know, those particular parts were like unsavory for that particular person or whatever it was. So yeah, maybe writing a letter and burning it or something like that, doing some sort of burning bowl ritual could be very helpful to help like release the energy around a certain situation or a certain group of people or something like that. And we've also got sweet treat as well, card number 50. I love this. Yeah. And she's baking herself muffins. So maybe yeah, maybe for the self-soothing as well, something that could help soothe your energy is to you know, do some baking or make yourself a treat, or go out with a friend and have a sweet treat or something like that. You know, I'm seeing it kind of, you know, not necessarily like binging on loads of chocolate or anything. We've got a lot of fruit around the outside here, so doing it in balance, doing it as part of a balanced diet. But occasionally, you know, when you're feeling triggered or something, as long as you're taking the steps to, you know, as I spoke about in the intro with Hygeia, it's all about, you know, getting to the root cause of things, right? And like not just brushing things under the carpet, or you know, doing escapism, you know, or other like unhealthy coping mechanisms. It's like actually taking responsibility for our emotional selves. And like, so, but I feel like in the context, you know, with everything you're going through, it's like, you know, provided you're not using food as a coping mechanism all the time, then, you know, making yourself the odd sweet treat as a little soothing thing could be very beneficial for you at this time. And I feel like there's one more that wants to come out. We've got one more self-care. So one more self-care for pile 2. Oh, interesting. Clean your space. Okay, so yeah, possibly just doing a bit of a declutter or a clean. I'm just seeing the crescent moon on her back, maybe at the new moon, doing like some sort of cleansing ritual. Yeah. I'm just sort of tuning into, I feel like there's something deeper behind this. It's less about like, although, you know, sure, like having a house clean is always a good thing, right? But, and it can often, you know, you can feel like it clears some energy when you do that, you know, opening the windows, all of that kind of thing, letting in fresh air, doing a really good like thorough spring clean or something can be really helpful. Clears out old stagnant energy, any kind of like lurking emotional energy that's hanging about can often feel like cleared away. So maybe also doing like a cleanse as well. I'm kind of getting like, yes, do a physical clean, but more do like an energy cleanse. So yeah, like the burning bowl ritual, do a Palo Santo cleanse, or a sage smudging cleanse, or burn some essential oils. I've got lavender burning in this, or burner at the moment, but you could get, you know, like peppermint is very cleansing, or any of the citrus essential oils are very cleansing as well. Or do like a salt cleanse of certain aspects in your space. There's something around sort of energetic cleansing for some reason that might help just like clear out some stagnant emotional energy. or negative energy that might be kind of around you, that might be sort of kind of keeping you a bit trapped or something. Yeah. Okay. I feel like that is all. Those are all the messages that I have for you, pile number 2. I hope that resonated for you. Leave a comment below if it did. I would love to hear from you, or drop me an emoji if it resonated. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the reading. It helps tell me what content is resonating for you guys at the moment. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already part of my community. I would love to have you here. All the best with your healing journey, and I will see you in the next reading. All my love. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. If you chose the Healing the Motherline with healing, ancestral work, motherline, and growing up, this will be your reading on what emotional healing do you need to do right now. So I get the vibe, pile number 3, that you guys are very far along on your healing journey. I feel like you've already done a lot of layers of emotional healing with regard to your own emotions and even childhood emotions, and healing from like any past traumas or anything like that in your current lifetime. And the level that you've got to now is really like doing ancestral work and starting that next level of healing work that can also still have an impact on our lives and our health, our spiritual health and even our physical health into our current lifetime, and certainly mental health as well, can pass down through a lineage because of intergenerational trauma. So I feel called to actually read the guidance from this guidebook for this card, so bear with me. It's a couple of pages, but hopefully this will be supportive. So we're living in a time of complex healing, especially when it comes to the motherline. Collectively, we're facing the intergenerational trauma that colonialism and patriarchy have imprinted on us. So many born to mothers who were not mothered themselves. It's time to mend the chain. So many of our ancestral lines have experienced brutal persecution and separation from the sacred feminine. We've been starved of the great mother's unwavering embrace and instead told to look only to a male god in the sky. So many were not taught to see the sacred in all things and the feminine in all. Her stages are sacred, powerful, and holy. This way of living has gone on for too long, and we're all being called to heal it on behalf of our ancestors, past and emerging. Healing is possible. It may not be straightforward or easy, but it's possible. It can be felt forward and back. Your ancestors, past and future, are singing with you. It's time to release our mothers all the way back for what they may not have been able to give. To find a way to cultivate the loving mother within, to treat ourselves with the same deep reverence, adoration, understanding, and compassion that we longed for all along. You can be that for yourself today. You can meet yourself where others could not, and as you do, future ancestors will bless you for finding the courage to release and heal deep. And the transmission is, I reach all the way back to the original mother, and I set all the mothers and myself free. Beautiful. Yeah, so some of you might be... like your family line might have been traumatized, might have like colonialism, traumas related to colonialism. Others might have traumas related to patriarchy, or even like a witch wound, something like that. You might have had an ancestor who was persecuted for being, like a healer, as most of the witches were, or just an old woman of the village, as also most of the women who were drowned and burned and all of that. During the witch hunts over hundreds of years. So, there could be something like that that you may be working with. So I feel like you'll start to get an inclination of what area this is, is impacting these traumas, these intergenerational traumas. Some of you, if you know your family history really well, will know immediately what it is from having that knowledge. For others of you, if you don't have, ancestral knowledge, you maybe don't have a connection with grandparents or ancestors going far back, so you may not know what happened to any of them or if there were any traumas. But sometimes if you feel like there are certain blocks in your life that don't respond to any work that you've been doing on yourself, or it doesn't seem to relate to anything that you've done in your life, or like, for example, like feeling a sense of a phobia or a trauma about something that didn't actually happen to you in your own lifetime, but you have a distinct sort of almost like a memory of it. Quite often that can be like an energetic imprint or memory that's passed through the lineage, and it's happened to someone, one of our ancestors or something like that. Sometimes also it can have happened to you in a past life, but usually, like, depending on where you are with your healing, you would have an idea if it's your own past life. Whereas if you sort of may already have a connection with certain past lives, and there's this sort of lingering thing that you can't sort of pinpoint, often that could be because it's being passed down through the lineage, particularly through the maternal line. And when for this generation, when you take the responsibility to go deeper with your healing and start healing those kind of traumas, or that kind of wound, or something that has happened to an ancestor, or something that's been passed down through the lineage. Because when there's been a really deep trauma, like something like say a burning at the stake, like one of your ancestors was a witch who was burned at the stake, and say her child, for example, watched that happen, that then gets imprinted on her. It then passes down through the line, on and on and on. It doesn't go away until someone's actually done the healing work. So this can be when you step up to the mantle and start healing something like that, though, this then has a ripple effect, and it heals back through it, because time isn't linear. It's experienced in a linear way on Earth, but it's not actually linear. So that healing then ripples back and heals that whole lineage by the healing that you're doing now, the conscious healing that you're doing now on that particular trauma. If you're able to know what it is, or even if you're not, you can ask for guidance from your guides. I'm going to ask the tarot now, actually, if we can get a little bit more of an indication. So for pile number 3, what is the emotional healing? The Star. Interesting. Yeah, the Star can talk about healing, actually. I feel like this is kind of like ask your guides, ask for guidance. It'll like trickle down kind of thing. The Star shows like this sort of like beautiful cosmic heavenly energy kind of being flowed down through into the water, that then goes down onto the earth and like is absorbed by people on Earth. So there's like some sort of a like, okay, I'm kind of getting like if you're able to connect with your star seed family, for those of you that are star seeds, or your galactic family, or if you have a connection to a certain like civilization, like Lemuria or Atlantis or something like that, doing a sort of guided meditation to connect in with something like that, or even just a guided meditation to connect in with your guides. That might help. I'm hearing also, I sometimes speak about Steve Noble's channel on my channel, because he does a lot of goddess transmissions, and they're amazing and they really work. I highly recommend them. So check his channel out, because there might be a transmission. I'm kind of getting like this is like a goddess up in heaven or up in the cosmic realm, that energy is up there kind of waiting to like transmit something to you, to give you more like guidance. And I feel like also the Star can talk about destiny. So I feel like it was always destined for you to be the one who is what's the word they're giving me? Like the curse breaker, or like the one who heals the whole lineage. Like you're the one who stops that trauma kind of carrying on down through the lines. So can we get some more guidance, please, for pile? Wow. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so we've got 2 of Wands. Interesting. In this particular 2 of Wands, this is the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, and in this particular deck, it's got a figure. Instead of like looking out through the 2 wands out onto the horizon, like in most decks, this figure is looking back. So I feel like there's something around before you're able to kind of really blossom in your future, or like really manifest things that you want to see in your life in some way. There's a need to kind of turn back and look to the past, look to your ancestors, look to your lineage, look to this intergenerational trauma and heal that first before you're able to kind of look forward. Because 2 of Wands is usually all about, creating a vision for the future, looking out to the horizon, like coming up with, an idea of where you want to go, of starting to think about like where you might want to travel, for example, or what you might want to manifest in your life. It's kind of a very like being on the precipice energy of like what you want to sort of start to create. But this particular figure is looking back. I'm kind of getting with the like shabby sort of white robes, almost like a slave. So for some of you, the healing that you may need to do is you some of you may have had ancestors who were slaves. So there may be, coming back to the colonialism thing, you could have colonialism wounds, or wounds around slavery, being imprisoned, and sometimes that can play out in your life as like fears of being like phobias almost, of being like stuck in certain situations or trapped in certain situations, things like that. Like not being able to get out of something because, your ancestors were like stuck in difficult situations. And then we've also got the Ace of Cups, beautiful. So there's there's a new beginning coming with regard to like your emotional health and your emotional well-being. And it's like there's all these this like forest and all these beautiful flowers that are like blossoming and starting to bloom out of this cup. And we've got a moth as well. Moths are often like they can be symbols of transformation, but they can sometimes symbolize like things that are old, like when there's moths, it can sometimes be like in an old house, for example, or like things that are sort of, it's almost like a vintage kind of picture as well. So and it's like flying up and out of the picture, whereas here we've got all this new growth and new budding. So I feel like it's like you're releasing this old thing, you're releasing this old trauma, this pain, this emotional pain that's passed down through your lineage. You're letting that go, and you're having this beautiful, bright, new emotional beginning. And for some of you, this could be something that it does impact you quite a lot, and you may really notice the differences on a very like it might be really in depth how much you notice when you release this sort of old wound or this old trauma, this sort of intergenerational trauma, and you'll just feel so different, so kind of like refreshed, and things will be able to grow in your life in a really obvious way. For others of you, this may be more subtle. It may be that it isn't impacting you so much in terms of like what you're trying to manifest in your life. Like you may still be able to reach a certain level of success or something, because that may not be anything related to the trauma, that's passed through the line. That might not be blocking that part of your life, but it may just be, on a more subtle level with regard to like, an aspect of your emotions or something like that. Maybe there was, for example, like maybe you're very successful in your work and things like that, but in your emotional life, you find it very difficult to open up and connect with people, because maybe there was some sort of intergenerational wound where like, the feminine line was told to like just never be heard, never be, just like they should be seen and not heard, and no one wanted to listen to their emotional self. And so they kind of shut that side of themselves down. They shut their feminine side down. They shut their emotional side down completely. They maybe even shut their intuitive side down completely. Because cups is all to do with all of that. It rules the emotions, it rules the inner world, it rules your intuition, as well. So there may have been some blocks to some of those things where like you may struggle to connect with those parts, or if you do, you may feel guilty, or you may want to connect with them more strongly, but there's always some sort of a like a block, like a reason why you can't trust it or something like that. It's like there's a part of you that like is like, you hear your intuition but then you disregard it because you think it's naff, or like your logical brain then takes over because you've maybe had some sort of masculine or patriarchal imprint in your lineage that like really dismissed that part of you. So it could play out in different ways. Like I said, for some of you it could have a very direct impact on things in your life. For others of you it could be a lot more subtle and emotional and energetic, but it is going to have an impact on like your life going forward. I feel like that with the Two of Wands, you're going to be able to envision a different like life. It's like you're going to be able to really like blossom once you release this old thing, this like kind of musty. It's like something that's been like sitting on your lineage like through many generations is what I'm getting. Let's get an Aboriginal chakra card. What chakra healing might Pile 3 need to do? Wow, red chakra fairy. So this is the root chakra. Yeah, so yeah, healing the roots, healing the lineage, mother healing or father healing. I feel like particular sort of mother healing, because we've got healing the mother line here, and we've got a like feminine figure. Some of the cards in this deck are male figures, but this one's got a red chakra fairy. Yeah, and I'm kind of getting like this figure's very sort of closed down, like she's got, you know, head in her knees, and she's kind of like protecting herself. So yeah, there might have been something around like some sort of wounding around like being seen. Yeah, and coming out under the star, and the star can be to do with like, you know, taking center stage and being seen and being like a star and being recognized and, you know, all of that kind of thing. And whereas this figure is like, no, don't look at me. So there could be some kind of wounding around like not wanting to speak up, not wanting to be seen, not wanting to share yourself, not wanting to share your truth, not wanting to like kind of come out into the light, or like take up center stage, or like really you know, step into your destiny in a powerful way. It could be like, yeah, certain patterns around hiding, playing small, keeping a low radar, things like that. That could be a wound that could be playing out, and that could be something that like you may have noticed a parent doing, a mother figure doing, or a grandmother figure did, you know, and so on and so forth. And it's because of the way they were conditioned, and then going back the way that their parent conditioned them, and so on. So I feel like that one jumped. This one? I feel like it's this one. Wholeness of self. So this is linked with the solar plexus chakra, which is all about shining your light, having the confidence to be yourself. It's like I was talking about, it's kind of the star energy, almost like Leo energy. I know Leo is not linked with the star card, but that's kind of one of the like wounding that I feel like might have happened is like, you know, this whole sort of hiding, not wanting to be seen, not wanting to be center stage, not wanting to show your full self. There's something around like, yeah, sort of pushing aspects of yourself into the shadow. And this wholeness of self is about like going back into the shadow and like retrieving those parts. And that shadow self could have been like the same shadow that your parent has, and the same shadow that your grandparent has, and so on and so forth. And it's kind of like it's just kept on perpetuating. Where the same things that were unacceptable or, you know, deemed as negative traits or whatever it might have been, you know, like sort of being seen, being heard, being like shining your light, being out in this, you know, sort of center stage, being allowed to like be yourself and fly your freak flag and be confident and all of that kind of stuff, that those aspects were like quashed by, you know, your parent, and that was because that happened to them, and so on and so forth. So there's a part of you in your shadow that is like wants to kind of come out, wants to kind of be reintegrated to be able to be whole. I feel like there might be something from the book in this. For this particular card, let's see. So yellow chakra. Where is it? Wholeness of self. Yeah, wholeness of self is related to the safety you have created and the confidence in which you travel through your life. It means that you're a safe bet, reliable, confident, and intelligent, and everyone knows they can depend on you. Playing this very responsible and grown-up role offers a sense of safety for yourself and those around you, and whilst this is admirable, I have to ask, where is the fun in it? To move forward, you need to leave behind the safety that you've created for yourself. Others have also found their safety in you, however, you are not responsible for them. By moving from your role as Miss or Mr. Safe and Secure, others will begin to take responsibility for themselves, which is way overdue. Recapture your sense of adventure and have some fun and just be naughty. Your friends and family will think you've lost the plot, but who cares? It's time to experience life like everyone else and make mistakes just like they do. Interesting. So yeah, maybe one of the wounds in your lineage is being the responsible one, being safe, playing it safe, like being, focused on like root chakra needs, which are like safety, stability, security, the home, money and finances and things like that. And really there's a part of you that wants to be more creative, to be more in touch with your emotional self, to be crazy and silly and maybe be a star and be center stage and maybe act, or, I'm hearing be in a play. Maybe some of you wanted to be in a play, or be really creative or do a sort of more creative path. And so possibly some of the wounding in your mother line could be around not expressing yourself, not allowing yourself to shine your light and be seen and kind of be have some adventures and have fun. So very interesting. Let's get a creative consciousness healing. What is the best creative consciousness healing that pile 3? Oh, we got a couple. Probably not. Well, we got a few. Let's see. Okay, so we've got pink seeds, growth under the surface, card number 43. Interesting. Belonging, healing and community, card number 11. And clarity, seeing and feeling the truth. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, maybe this is belonging with that wholeness of self, and when I was talking about coming out in the light and kind of having fun, going on some adventures, doing something a bit differently, not just playing it safe, and belonging in the root chakra. There could be something around the roots that you grew up in, or the family that you're a part of, you don't feel a sense of belonging from that. And I feel like maybe you're meant to maybe you will find a sense of belonging and also some healing from a new community, from kind of growing your own community or creating your own community, creating your own tribe, that kind of thing. I feel like with the pink seeds and growth under the surface, this is kind of coming back to this Two of Wands card, where there's this, something is waiting to kind of blossom. It's like the seeds are already planted, but there's maybe just this last piece of looking back that Hygeia can help you with over this time. While she's in Pisces, she can help you to look back and just do this last piece of motherline healing or ancestral healing to help you really grow, to help these seeds that you've planted to really blossom. And you can see here there's seeds, and here there's beautiful blossomed flowers. I love that. That's such a nice little synchronicity there. So, and I also feel maybe by being in some kind of community, so maybe finding a healing community or a community group of some sort might help you find a sense of belonging and help you to really blossom and be your true self, and kind of come back to your whole self, where you're more confident to try something a bit different and have more fun and have more adventures, and break out of your what everyone expects you to be, or what you've been conditioned to be, or something like that. And then I feel like it's like a little progression. It's like here the person is kind of just looking at the little seeds. Here they're kind of walking with these flowers, and then here they're actually flying. So, which could be symbolic of like you wanting to fly somewhere, you want to kind of, you know, go overseas, have some adventures, go traveling, you know, move somewhere else or something. And I feel like you're going to get a lot more clarity on your like your future goals and your future vision for your life. Like once you've done this kind of healing, it's almost like your roots or your some blocks or wounds in your root chakra might be tying you to like a false sense of what was it saying in the book? It was saying about like being responsible, like a sense of responsibility for others, or a sense of like needing to be the dependable one or something like that. So yeah, whereas I feel like here this figure is like they're free. It's like I'm free, I can go where I want, I can fly where I want, I can, you know, have this new life, I can go over here and try these different things. So yeah, there's something around sort of like freeing up from responsibility or freeing up from certain expectations or something, and also like coming out of being sort of hidden and playing it small, and like, you know, joining some kind of community or doing more things with groups of people or something like that. So very interesting reading. Let's finish up with some self-care messages. What self-care can pile 3 do? What self-care can pile 3 do? Ooh, sound healing. Ooh, okay. Yeah, so there's loads of sound healing videos. Maybe like going to a gong bath or just listening to something on YouTube could be very helpful to go through this emotional healing, or to do this this like lineage healing. Possibly doing some kind of like shamanic sound healing could also be very helpful. Let's see. Any other self-care? Oh wow, create art. Oh, I love this. And it looks like kind of really like expressive and kind of just all over the place. So it's almost like that kind of reminds me of like finger painting, some of the like little spotchy bits here. So yeah, maybe some of you wanted to be artists, or you wanted to create in some way. And that's not something that, you know, was encouraged or whatever. It's something that's been blocked. Maybe creative self-expression has been blocked through your lineage or something like that. So yeah, getting out the paintbrushes. 1 second. Sorry, pile 3. I just had a bit of a throat tickle. So yeah, throat chakra healing could be something for you guys as well. I think was it pile 2? I think pile 2 had throat chakra healing as well. But yeah, because that's all about your self-expression and creative expression. So yeah, so we had root chakra healing, solar plexus chakra healing, and then throat chakra healing in particular. And finally, oh, massage. Interesting. Okay, yeah, so particularly like somatic massage could be very helpful for releasing like, you know, old emotions or you know, things stuck in the auric field and things like that. So going to a proper like somatic practitioner could be very helpful. But even just as a little self-care ritual, you know, just massaging your feet here, or like, you know, certain like meridian points in your body could be very helpful as well to yeah, just help your energy healing out through this time, help your energy body out through this time. I feel like those are all the messages that I have for you, pile number 3. I hope that resonated for you. Leave me a comment below if it did, or an emoji if it resonated. I would love to hear from you. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the reading. It helps tell me what content is resonating for you guys. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already part of the community. I would love to have you here. All the best with your healing, and I will see you in the next video. All my love.